And welcome back. And here's your latest housing market update for Boise, Idaho, as well as Sacramento, California. This is based on data from Redfin in today's video. I'm going to share what's happening right now regarding home prices, home sales, price reductions, and of course, much, much more. Let's first talk about Boise and see what's going on right now. So Boise, here's 2023 in blue. The black line's 2022, the orange line's 2021, and the red line's 2020. I wish I could share 2019's levels with you guys, but once we hit 2023, they actually removed 2019 from their website here. But at least I can share going back to 2020. So new listings are more or less on par with the last few years, more or less flat compared to 1 year ago. So we have more or less the same number of new listings in Boise over the past several years now. Let's also have a look at pendings though. And pending home sales are actually right here. So pending home sales are down 32.3% on a year-over-year basis. A decrease of contracts being signed between buyers and sellers, down 32% on a year-over-year basis. More or less on par with 2021, but well below 2020 and of course 2022 as well. So a decrease of contracts being signed and more or less the same number of new listings compared to 1 year ago. Let's have a look at housing inventory, active listings, which is up only 26.5%. That's interesting. So active listings have only increased by about 26% compared to the same time period in 2022. We have more or less the same number of houses for sale right now compared to 2021 this time. But look at this, compared to 2020 though, look at that. 2020, there was approximately 3,436 houses for sale, and now there's only about 2,200. So we have more or less the same number of houses for sale in 2021 and about 26% higher compared to 2022, but far below levels in 2020. Let's also have a look at the number of houses that sold though in Boise, Idaho, which is right here. And look at that, way below the past few years, a 37.6% decrease compared to 2022 and below levels over the past several years as well. I'm guessing because pendings as well as home sales have been decreasing big time. I'm guessing the share of price reductions, according to altosresearch.com, is increasing big time as well. And look at that. The share of price reductions in Boise is at 59%. So nearly 6 of every 10 houses for sale in Boise, Idaho right now have reduced their asking prices. So the share right now at 60%, the share of price drops. Look at this though, because 1 year ago, the share was more or less half the number we have right now at 31%. And in 2021, wow, look at that. The share of price reductions in January 29th, 2021 was 6.6%. Now it's a whopping 59%. What a difference 2 years makes in this case. Also, 3 years ago, back in early parts of February 2020, more or less before the onset of the pandemic here, the share was at 22%. So the share right now at 59% is at least a 3-year high for that same time frame. Now here's something to keep in mind. The share right now at 59%, this is actually a little bit below levels we had during the peak, which is more or less the middle of November, when the share of price reductions was just under 71%. Since then has decreased to about 59%. All right, let's have a look at home prices in Boise, Idaho, according to Redfin here, because look at this. The median sold price in Boise is at $449,000, and that's a 9% decrease on a year-over-year basis. What's the significance regarding this is look at this. Back in the same time frame in 2022, the median sold price was $490,000. And at that time, that was a 20% increase in home prices, and now it's a 9% decrease. I mean, what a difference 1 year makes. Also, when looking at home prices, I mean, the home sold prices in Boise right now compared to May, because back in May, the median sold price in Boise was at $547,000. Therefore, home sold prices have decreased by about 18% since last May. And by the way, compare this to the national average, home prices have decreased by about 10 to 11% nationwide since May and June of last year, whereas in Boise, it has declined by about 18%. Also on a side note as well, this is actually very close to the 21% decrease in the median sold price in Austin, Texas, for example. One thing I do want to mention though, because prices have declined by about 18% since last May, and obviously we have more houses for sale. This is obviously good news if you're a home buyer. The bad news though is that rates have been increasing so much compared to the past couple of years. So when talking about mortgage rates, average rates in 2020 through 2021 were around 3%. Now rates are around 6.2%, and home prices have gone from, let's just say, back in January 2020, obviously pre-COVID, the median sold price was only $324,000. Fast forward 3 years though, it has increased to $449,000. Therefore, even though home prices have decreased by about 18% since the highs we saw last year, when looking at home prices compared to the same time frame in 2020, they're still up about 36%. Now, having said that, obviously home prices decreasing is a step in the right direction if you guys are looking to buy a house in Boise. Let's also have a look at how fast or how slow houses are selling in Boise, Idaho, which is right here. Days on the market. Wow, look at that. That's crazy. So 82 days is the median days in the market. It's taking approximately 82 days to sell a house in Boise, Idaho, which is absolutely crazy. So that means that it's taking approximately 54 days longer to sell a house compared to the same time frame 1 year ago. It's taking nearly 2 months longer to sell a house compared to 12 months ago, which is absolutely insane. 82 days right now. During the same time frame in 2022, it was only taking about 28 days to sell a house. And compare that to 2021 at this time, days in the market was just under 11 days. So in 2 single years, we went from days in the market to be more or less 11 days. Now it's a whopping 82 days. Which, by the way, excluding last week when days in the market was 82.7, now it's 82.5. This is at least a 3-year high going back to at least 2020. Let's also have a look at the average sale price to final list price ratio. That ratio is approximately 98%, meaning houses sold for 2% below the seller's asking price or the seller's final asking price on average. Last year, that ratio was actually just under 100%, meaning houses selling for about their asking price on average. And also at more or less 2% below right now, this is actually much lower than the 2% above that home sellers were selling their houses back in March 2021, all the way until approximately June of 2021. All right, so that was the latest trends we're seeing right now in Idaho. Let's have a look at Sacramento, California, where I live and work as a real estate agent. Which, by the way, if you guys are looking to move to Sacramento and looking to buy a house, then please reach out to me and my team, Jason at meetjasonwalter.com. So take a look at this. Here's new listings. New listings in Sacramento, California, down 39.4% on a year-over-year basis, below levels in 2020 through 2022. Which is a common trend we're seeing right now because a lot of people do not want to give up their historically low rates and buy a new home for around 6% when they have rates around 3%. So we're seeing this common trend nationwide, really, decreases in new listings. In Sacramento, down by 39%. Let's also have a look at pendings. Let's actually look at this first here. Pending home sale listing updates. So pendings are down 38.3%. So the levels we have right now is far below 2020 through 2022. A lack of contracts being signed between buyers and sellers in Sacramento because our housing market's been slowing down. Speaking of that, let's have a look at housing inventory in Sacramento. Active listings, look at this. Active listings up by 47% on a year-over-year basis, below levels in 2021 as well. But levels we have right now is approximately 3,297 houses for sale. Back in 2022 this time, there's approximately 2,200. So at 3,297, this is still below levels we saw back in 2020 at this time, when there's approximately 4,200 houses for sale. Let's also have a look at the number of closed home sales in Sacramento as well, which is right here. And closed home sales are far below levels in 2020 through 2022, a decrease of 44.6% compared to the same time frame 12 months ago. Huge decrease of pending home sales as well as closed home sales as well. So I'm guessing the share of price reductions, I'm not guessing, I know the share of price reductions is high in Sacramento, but look at this. The share of price drops in Sacramento is at 43%. Far below Boise. I believe Boise was at 59%, and Sacramento at 43%. But compared to the nation's average, though, the national average right now, according to AltosResearch.com, is approximately 34%. So right now, the share at approximately 43% in Sacramento is well above the nation's average. Right now, 43%. 1 year ago, the share was only 15%. And back in 2021, this time, it was 20%. And pre-COVID, back in February of 2020, the share was only 25%. So right now, even though the share has been decreasing ever since more or less December last year, we're still at least a 3-year high for that same time frame. Now, having said that, even though we're at a 3-year high during that same time frame, the current levels we have right now are at the lowest levels since July 8th last year, when the share of price reductions was also around 44%. So that was the share of price reductions. Let's have a look at home prices in Sacramento, California, because the median sold price in Sacramento has decreased by 4% compared to 12 months ago. The median sold price is at $524,000. Back during the peak, which is more or less May last year, the median sold price in Sacramento was $614,000. This means home prices, home sold prices, have decreased by about 15% since last May. Again, compared to the national average, home prices have decreased around 10% nationwide. In Boise, down 18%, but in Sacramento, down about 15%. Also look at this because the 4% decrease on a year-over-year basis, during the same time frame in 2022, we saw a 15% increase on a year-over-year basis. So what a difference 1 year makes, going from 15% down to a negative 4% we're seeing right now. Now, one thing I do want to mention regarding home prices here in Sacramento is that obviously if you're a home buyer looking to buy a house right now, obviously it's encouraging news that home prices have decreased by about 15% since last May. But when comparing home prices right now compared to pre-COVID levels, 3 years ago, we're still up by about 28%. All right, that was the latest update for home prices in Sacramento. Let's talk about days on the market. So the median days in the market in Sacramento is at 43 days. This means it's taking approximately 30 days longer to sell a house compared to 12 months ago, taking nearly or about 1 month longer to sell a house compared to the same time frame in 2022. Days in the market 1 year ago was only 12 and a half days. And by the way, have a look at this because this is pretty astonishing. 42.7 is days in the market right now. Look at the spring months of 2022, which that market was absolutely insane. But during the spring months of 2022, look at that. Days in the market was more or less 7 days. It took approximately 7 days to sell a house back in the spring months of 2022. Now it's taking approximately 43 days. Let's also have a look at the average sale price to list price ratio in Sacramento. Houses selling for approximately 2% below asking compared to approximately 1% above back in 2022. Also look at 2021. In 2021, during the spring and summer months of 2021, houses on average were selling for about 4% over asking. This is the final asking price. So 4% over the seller's asking price. Now they're selling for approximately 2% below the seller's final asking price. So to say our housing market here in Sacramento, as well as Boise, Idaho, have been slowing down is definitely an understatement. And with that said, please comment below your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Of course, I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.